everybody. Can you hear me okay? Raise your hand if you can't hear me. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Victor Feliciano, and welcome to the Lee County County Commission District 3 Public Forum. And thank y'all for coming out. If you're out here just to eat and you walked into something that you didn't know, welcome. And so, once again, for those of you who are live on Lee County Matters page and some of the other pages that are being shared, we welcome you to this event. We've got three candidates here: Brian Davis, Jeff Drury, and Jeff Long. Gary Long. So we will we're going to be posing questions from you, and they're going to have 2 minutes to answer. It is not a debate, so don't come hoping that they're going to be fisticuffs. Not going to happen. The questions are going to be directed to all three candidates. They'll have the 2 minutes to answer. Mary Ensley is with us, and she's going to be the timekeeper. She's going to indicate when there's 1 minute left, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and then she's going to beep you when it's time to stop. All right? Just a little bit. I've been a District 3 resident for 17 years, and I'm in that area that is in no man's land. I'm just outside the city limits of Smith Station, but I'm in the Phoenix City, but I can't vote for Phoenix City mayor. So in essence, these guys, whoever's going to be the commissioner is kind of my mayor, and hopefully, I'm sure it's the same case with many of you that are here. So are we ready with our timer? All right, so we're first going to let them do introductions. They're going to have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and anything else that they wish to state. Remember, candidates, you're addressing the audience, not each other. So any questions or any statements that are referring to candidates may not be asked. So we did draw lots, and so Mr. Davis is first. Now he's going to be first in the introductions. Mr. Drury is going to be first to answer questions for the first questions, and then they'll be rotating who's going to be answering first. So that way, no one is bottom feeding, per se. And then Mr. Long will be the first to do the closing comments as well. All right, so I'm going to position myself over here to get out of the way of our servers. And before we get started, we want to give Miss Angie a thank you. A round of applause for her letting us host here. And all right, so we're going to start with Mr. Davis. Get your microphone on and go ahead and introduce yourself. You've got 3 minutes.
I don't think I'll take that long. I don't really have that interesting of a life. My best part of my life is back there at that table. My wife, my son, my in-laws, and they can wave if they want to. There we go. And I apologize for my son's fussiness a little bit earlier. He's overstimulated. Real quick about me. I'm retired Air Force. I did 25 years active duty. Been all around, seen a lot of things. Had a lot of different jobs while I was active duty. And had a privilege to serve in a lot of different capacities. And then after I retired, I got a job offer it was Montgomery. And then they transferred me to Auburn, and we ended up actually eventually settling in Smith Station. That's where we fell in love. My wife and my son back there feel the same. We have such great family and support here. We fell in love with it. We looked at everything, people, geography, and this was just such a great fit. I go to Mount Zion Church, a Methodist church in Smith Station. Great bunch of people, and if you're looking for a church home, give it a try. Just putting that plug in there. We have a great sense of community over there. And right now I work, I'm fortunate enough to have a job. I work from home. I work for a company called Trimedics as a director of continuous improvement. So just a fancy way of saying I'm a project manager. I take a lot of different problems in the company and work with different groups, different functions, different departments in the company to solve some complex issues. We support all the healthcare technology for hospitals nationwide. So everything from an x-ray unit to ventilators to anesthesia, thermometers, all that. And it's everything, every time it's a new problem, it's a new chance to learn and explore new solutions with different perspectives. And it's something that helps me in a lot of different aspects of my life. Problem solving and critical thinking is something that I know my wife really appreciates when I'm trying to solve problems at home. Now, but she tolerates me, so I do love that. It's something that it's kind of infused in my DNA. When I see problems, I don't know how to kind of ignore them. My uncle that raised me, he helped my mom raise me. He was a World War II veteran, and he taught me to be part of the solution, not just part of the problem. Identifying the problem is part of the problem. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Drury.
My name is Jeff Drury. I know a lot of you in here. I am a lifelong citizen of Smith Station. I am married. My beautiful wife Susan's over there. My mother, my pastor, my daughter, and her husband, Josiah. I see him. So we together we have 5 children. We range in age from 33 to 7. So my 33 is here. She is Kylie is a coach and a teacher at Midland and an adjunct professor at Columbus State. Her husband Lee is here, and he is a head wrestling coach at Opelika High School. My mother is here. She's a 37-year retired teacher from Lee County. My wife Susan is here, and then we have Josiah. Josiah is our son that we adopted back in May. He was one of our foster children, and we have now been able to adopt him. People ask me why do I want to serve? I want to serve because of you. I want to serve you in Smith Station, Alabama. I want to serve the community that has given me my childhood, my education, a place to raise my family, my home, and my plans is to retire here and be buried here. So I'm in it for the long haul. But I serve, my parents taught me a lot, but 2 of the things they taught me is you leave it better than you found it, and you give more than you get. And that's my goal for Lee County, is to leave it better than I found it. Can I give more than I get? I doubt it, because Lee County has given me everything I have, but I'm going to try to give back more than it has given me. So what do I hope to accomplish? 3 things. I want to improve communication, responsiveness, and transparency. So what do I mean by that? Communication, you need to know it ahead of time. If you get a bill in the mail or something from Lee County, you need to know it. It should be communicated to you so it's not a surprise. What do I mean about responsiveness? If you call, I will answer the phone, and if I don't, I will call you back. And I will track, I'm an accountant, finance and accounting major, but I will track every call that is made on the spreadsheet so I can go back and look at it, hopefully be proactive instead of reactive. And transparency. If I know it, you know it. And I do understand there are certain things that I can't share in executive session and things, but if I know it, you should know it. So again, my name is Jeff Drury. I'm running for Lee County Commission District 3.
Okay. Mr. Gary Long.
My name is Gary Long. I have been on the commission for 15 years and a few months. I, like Jeff, I didn't live here my entire life. We moved here when I was 12. I married my high school sweetheart that, and we've been married for 49 years. I've got 2 daughters. My wife is a retired school teacher. Both of my daughters are school teachers. And I've got 4 grandchildren. When I decided to run, I ran because Smith Station was such a great place for me growing up. It was a great place for my daughters growing up. My grandchildren were fixing to grow up in Lee County, and I wanted to have a part in how the county was. I love Lee County. I feel like that we've done a lot. There have been some things that weren't a popular decision. The trash pickup may be one of them, but we were getting raped by counties around us and cities around us to the point to where when I first started the commission, our tipping fees were $20,000 a month. Well, they tripled, and the county's population did not triple, and it was because people were using our containers. Alabama only had one county that continued to use open-top containers, and that was Lee County. So, sorry. So we changed that, and there's a lot of people that got upset about that. I stand behind my decision to support that. That was something that we needed to do. When I first got on the commission, our resurfacing cycle was every 56 years. That means when 298 out there got paved, it was going to be 56 years before it got resurfaced again. We have pulled that down to about 36 years, and I want to see it even lower. That's a hard task. It's a lot of money that's involved in that. So I plan on serving another 4 years, but you have the vote. And so I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to speak to y'all. Thank you.
Everything good? Everybody good technical side? Everybody good on technical? Everybody good on the technical?
All right, y'all ready for the questions? We're going to start with Mr. Drury, and he'll have 2 minutes to respond, and then it'll be Mr. Long and then Mr. Davis for this question. We're going to get the elephants out of the room first, and then we'll go from there.
Republicans have to leave.
At your own risk. Is there any chance we can make a change in the fire department and have it come under the county government and be subject to audit by the state and have our fire fees on our tax bill?
So I currently know that the Smith Station Fire Department is being audited by a public accounting firm out of Auburn. That report is supposed to be available at the end of March. They did request for the state auditors, but the state auditors told them it would be at least 2 years before they could get to audit the Smith Station Fire Department. I have read the 22-page dossier, if that's what you want to call it, that was submitted. My biggest problem with that is that it was written by anonymous, and that sort of concerns me a little bit. But if any of that in that dossier is actually true, then I think it does need to be looked at and investigated. I would wait. I'm an accountant. That's what I do. So I'm definitely looking forward to the audit that will come at the end of March. And I think based on what that audit reveals, action should be taken accordingly. And if that does mean that, now I'm not as familiar with the law if it can bring the fire district up under the county. I do know that the city as well as the county does appoint board members currently to that, to the fire department board. So I do know that they are appointed by the city has a representative, and I think the county has some representatives. As far as the fees, so the fire district, the State Code of Alabama 11-89 is the state code that allowed them to start charging fees. Just like the waterworks are allowed to charge fees, so can they. The waterworks charge you for water. Basically, Smith's Fire and Rescue are charging you for services. So they are allowed to do that. I know the commission and the council did have to vote to make the volunteer fire department a fire district. So that's how that came about, that allowed them, under the State Code of Alabama 11-89, to start charging those fees. Stop. Okay. I'm sorry, I was focused on the audience.
All right, Mr. Long, you got 2 minutes.
When the fire department first came to us about the fire district, I'm gonna be honest with you, I supported it. And that may not be a popular decision, but I served with that fire department as a volunteer. Then I was on it as a board member. The volunteers have dwindled every year. The volunteers are getting older. That is an incredible commitment to get up 2 or 3 in the morning and go to somebody's house on a citizen assist call and help an elderly person out of the floor and back into the bed. And these men and women do it without batting an eye. If we're not careful, we're going to lose our fire department. I support what they do. The equipment, since COVID, has gotten more and more expensive for them. And so they're having to do what they have to do. $50 a year is not really able to get them where they need to be. I'll answer the question about being back on our ad valorem taxes. $50 of that fee is currently on there. That's because the fire fee was passed, and that's the way that it was to be paid. Because they're now a fire district, what they're doing is they're getting that $50 off of your ad valorem tax, and then you're paying the remainder of that. I don't know that the county really has the authority to change that. But again, if it's up to me, I don't see me changing it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm more concerned about us not having fire protection than I am spending the extra $100 a year.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Davis, same question.
What can be made can be unmade. That's the short answer. So it was incorporated, you can disincorporate. It was a head scratcher for me. It's like, well, there's already a fire protection component of my property tax. Why am I paying another tax that's not called a tax? And that's really my position on it. I don't see fees as anything other than just illegitimate taxes. They didn't go through the proper process and the vetting process of being instantiated as legitimate taxes. That's something that the people need to weigh in on, have feedback, and provide their input on, their perspective. Let me make one thing really clear, though. I support the ones who are doing the work, the firefighters who are putting their lives and their safety at risk to do what they do. They need equipment, they need the training to do what they do in the safest manner possible. So they do need funding. I feel that funding should come from the county. Like you go to the commission and you see the commission approve funding for the police department, for the sheriff's county office. It's the same process in my mind to do that. Alabama is a home rule state. Unless something is specifically prohibited or spelled out in the federal constitution or the state constitution, local governments have a lot of leeway. They have a lot of authority. As long as it's not illegal, unethical, or immoral, they can do that. So I'd say yes, let's make it happen. You know, let's do that. And let's stop taxes that are not called taxes on people. It's somebody came to the Smith Station Fire Protection meeting and said last year they paid $1,600 in property taxes, but they also paid $1,800 in waste management fees and fire protection fees.
All right, thank you so much. All right. We'll hit the other elephant here, starting with Mr. Long. All right, so do you see the continuation of the trash the way it is going now, or do you look to rescind or repeal it? And what is your reasons for those? And anything else you wish to add on that?
I don't see us going back to open-top containers only. We have implemented the sites, some of the sites will be open once a quarter. They'll be open on April the 6th, and the one for this area will be on 280 out there in the Mott community. Our roads were so littered. I know there's a lot of people that say that they're getting some big garbage, on their property as a result of the containers being gone. But I cannot support open-top containers because we had absolutely no way to keep people from dumping in them in the middle of the night. And so it was costing us way too much money. It was your money. It was taxpayers' money that was paying for all that. Personally, did I like the open-top containers? Yeah, I did. They were convenient. I could take things down there and not have to have a certain day that I took them. But I like the garbage pickup as well, because I don't see the garbage on the side of the road. I was getting so many calls about the litter on our roadsides, and it was just ridiculous how much was out there. And I used to joke and say that people will leave their house with a truckload of garbage, and when they got to the open-top containers, they just turned around and went home because all the garbage blew off their truck on the way to the containers. And it was pathetic. 379 was just unbelievable, and that site was unbelievable. Plus, the employees never got Christmas off, they never got New Year's off, they never got any holidays because somebody had to be working. Just my feeling.
Mr. Davis.
Could you restate the question specifically one more time?
Basically, your stance on, are you looking to keep the trash the way it is, or what changes are you looking to make on that?
So, I'm for bringing back open-top containers, public dumpsters. But that doesn't mean taking away the curbside. I think that that's a confusion for some people, that they think it has to be one or the other. I think it's a hybrid model is the best solution. People need choices. People should have the freedom to pick what they want to do, not be beholden to an agency or a government arm to actually provide that service to them. I, for one, thought I was maybe in the minority of people that actually was upset when they were taken away. I generated a lot of yard waste in spring and summer. So I was taking a lot of limbs up there, grass clippings, whatever. And when I got talking to people in the area, though, literally hundreds of people, the single biggest hotbed item is the lack of the public dumpsters. And I hear so often that, okay, so the main drags, main roads and thoroughfares are probably kept up pretty clean. You go to a lot of these back roads, the trash is piling up and piling up. I can guarantee you this. I have never worked for a government agency in my career working for the Air Force and managing programs where I couldn't find waste and cut it. Where I couldn't find a budget waste and cut it and pay for other services. I am confident we can do that with Lee County. It would be easier to do if the information was available to look at on the Lee County website. But we can start there and cut it and provide for the services that people want. Because this isn't a matter of a unilateral decision by a few people. This is what the people want, and I support that.
Mr. Drury.
All right. So I think the trash service was poorly planned. I think it was poorly communicated. And then I think it was poorly implemented. So what do I mean by that? I know that the bid went out for 18,000 garbage tops. I know we only have 15,000. I look at the financials. We're losing $2 million a year on the current trash service the way it is set up. Over the 3-year contract, we're going to be losing right at $7 million, because also the commission had to hire a new department to collect the fees. Their salaries is $427,000 a year that you added on top of that. And my understanding now is that they're having trouble collecting all the fees, so they're looking at an outside service to help do that as well. So, you know, to me, it's not smart to lose $7 million over 1 year or 3 years. But, so what I would do as far as open top containers, if I get in office, the first thing I'll do is have a town hall meeting. I will invite everyone and I will hear what the people want. And that's what I will go back to the commission and fight for, is what the people want as far as containers.
All right, the next question, starting with Mr. Davis. Do you see your role as a commissioner, as an advocate for your district towards the Alabama Department of Transportation and the U.S. Department of Transportation, through the help of the state of Alabama, to improve intersections such as each end of Bush Road and the intersections that involve Loves and others throughout the district?
I absolutely do see the traffic safety, the road safety and conditions as a responsibility of a commissioner. We need to make sure that the people first are safe in our communities. We need to make sure that they have the required minimum services. And life and limb and safety is paramount. That is the job one. I mean, that's why we talk about the fire protection, right? We want to make sure that citizens are protected by the bare essentials, bare minimum at least, for the things they need. We don't have intersection safety in several locations. I could actually describe a couple more than you listed there. And like the Home Depot intersection there at Pierce, how often do we have, you know, huge auto accidents there? I mean, it happens too frequently. I know that several months ago, it was like 2 back-to-back. It was like within weeks of each other. And that shouldn't be happening. There needs to be real civil engineering examining how these things are laid out, how the signage is implemented, and all the other Department of Transportation recommendations and safety concerns and considerations need to be followed. And there are instances where that's not being done right now, you know, for periods or for different specific areas of merging and, you know, highway ingress and egress. That needs to happen. If we continue growing like we just added Jack's, and we added a lot more traffic flow to that intersection, we need to be mindful of that and be proactive and plan for that and make sure that the civil engineering examination and studies are done well before we put any pavement down or before we actually change the flow of traffic.
All right, Mr. Drury, same question.
Well, again, I've been here all my life, and I think we've come a long way with what we currently have. I remember when we didn't have a red light in Smith Station. So, you know, the first one we got was at Smith Station Baptist Church, right there at that intersection. I know the Loves intersection, I guess is what you want to call it, there were quite a bit of number of lives lost there before we ever did get a light there, and we finally did. But on the commission, you know, it's my job to be your voice and your advocate that goes in and fights for you at the state level, at the federal level, or wherever I can. You know, we grow every year. District 3 is now 35,000 people. We make up 20% of the population of Lee County. 20%. And so, yes, I think as we grow, we do need to look and do those and have studies, have the highway department. We got a brand new highway department right up there on 280. Let's go knock on their door and say, hey, we need some traffic studies done. So, yeah, I think that, you know, you start there at the local level and then we go up and we fight all the way to the state and federal level to get the funds we need for the safety of our people.
Mr. Long, same question.
The Alabama Department of Transportation has been, and I've been in a number of meetings with this, we have a serious problem at Bleecker Junction, 250, where 250 crosses 280. People use that as a cut through. It's limited sight distance. And so we met with the state and talked about, should we close 250 right there? And it got some pushback from the residents on the other side of 250. And it was becoming a bigger challenge to figure out how to make that safe. About, I don't know, it's not quite a year ago, a young man that I know and know well almost lost his life there. It was his fault. He pulled out into oncoming traffic. Don't know how fast that person was going to hit him, and that's part of our problem. Is the speeds on 280 are just ridiculous. So I really got involved even more so once that happened. Once Logan got hit. So what the state is looking at doing is putting in curbing that will prevent you from going across from 250 south north on 250 past Bleecker Junction to eliminate some of that. They're also putting in curbing and what they call candlesticks to force the traffic off the road and to turn so that it keeps everybody in the same location. That is what we're working on 280 with ALDOT.
All right. We're going to do something a little different on this question because I don't really think we need 2 minutes from each of you to say this is basically a yes or no, maybe 30 seconds if you have to elaborate. But basically this is from the audience. Have you taken any contributions for your campaign and reported it? Starting, starting with Mr. Drury.
So for my campaign, I have had 3 individuals contribute. I had online someone from out of state, Washington, D.C. contribute $250. I had another individual contribute $100, and I had someone give me $60. So I have had $410 given to me to help with my campaign. I have not asked for any donations from anyone, as my goal is to self-fund this thing all the way through.
Mr. Long?
I have received 3 donations. One was from an individual in Phoenix City that called me and wanted to contribute. He gave me $500. I got $200 from a coworker at work that wanted to help me. And then I got $250 from the Friends of Retirees. It's a state PAC that reached out and wanted to contribute. You can go on the Secretary of State's website and see exactly how much money we have collected.
Mr. Davis.
Just to finish the thought there, yeah, you can go to the Secretary of State's website and you can see it's all a matter of public record. I have received contributions. from several individuals, people at my church, people in the neighborhood, and people that I associate with in the Republican Assembly. And they're just good folks that we hang out with and get the scoop on what's happening in local politics. And it's all a matter of public record.
Okay, so the next question, we're starting with Mr. Davis. It appears that the commission has failed in their oversight role with the East Alabama Medical Center the past years. How will you as commissioner proactively work towards improving this?
So, my background in the military, most of it was working in clinical engineering and hospital administration. The first years, I was kind of a bench-level technician, worked my way up into leadership roles, and I got put in some pretty complicated departments and providing oversight for some fairly large budgets for medical care, the support, the infrastructure. So I did get exposed to a lot of that over my 25 years. So for me, what I've done in the past when I was looking into, okay. So I worked for the Air Force Surgeon General for 4.5 years. And one of those jobs, I was a steward of a $120 million annual service contract budget. And I was able to go through and meticulously scrutinize all the expenditures there and save about $10 million a year in our outlay, what we were actually expending. And that was money that we put back into patient care, into better quality health care at no extra taxpayer expense. So I think that the similarity of working for a federal agency, a government agency like the Air Force, military is a federal agency. It's not really that different than working for another government agency. You have to follow very much the same rules and statutes and regulations and compliance. And there needs to be, we mentioned it when we're talking about the fire protection district, I believe that anybody that's dealing with a lot of public funds or subsidies, they need to be audited and regularly. So for the East Alabama Medical Center, they need to be audited by some competent people with teeth, not just recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Drury.
Could you read that one more time, please?
The commission, according to this right now, the commission has failed in their oversight role of the East Alabama Medical Center in the past years. How would you proactively work towards improving it?
Well, the first thing I got to know is how they failed. I can't answer a hypothetical off of something that I don't have facts about. So, that's, to me, that needs to be a little bit more specific question. So, what I'm going to do is, if they think they've failed, I'm going to go to an audit and look for the facts and see if they've actually failed, and then we would act accordingly. But, until I know more specifics about how they failed with their oversight, it's really hard to answer that question. I'm an accountant. I work off facts and I work off numbers. So somebody show me some facts and numbers and I'll give you an answer.
Okay, and Mr. Long.
I could not agree with Jeff anymore. That I want to know where we failed. I mean, that hospital has been around for a lot of years. There are some that don't like it, I guess. We help that hospital. That hospital serves a major function in this county. And it's almost as if they want the funding taken away. I guess that's what the question is asking. And I have no idea. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We got that from the audience, and so we will move on to the next question. This is a couple of questions that actually pertain to this topic, so I'm going to try to phrase it in a way that encompasses both of them. And in regards to the live streaming of the and public comments for the minutes of the commission meetings. And so, what changes are you looking? Are you looking to make any changes in getting public comments into the minutes or part of the meeting and such? And what ways would you make those changes, or are you okay with the way it is now? And we will start that with Mr. Long. Is it Mr.?
I think it's Mr. Drury.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think it's Mr. Drury. I think it's Mr. Drury.
Okay, Mr. Drury, you'll start that. Thank you.
Well, once again, here I am. I'm not familiar with all the changes. I do understand there were some changes. But if a person needs to speak about an issue and they're a member and they are a resident of Lee County, then they need to be allowed to speak. They need to be heard, and they have a voice. If they have a vote, they have a voice. And so I do think that people should be able to speak, and it should be noted in the minutes. There should be nothing redacted, nothing taken away. That, you know, I think one of the things you've heard me speak about is transparency. And I think the commission needs to be 100% transparent. One of the first things I would try to do is get our website updated so that you actually can see, go back and see a lot of live streaming and actually easily find the videos and everything. But I do think that people should be able to speak and be heard.
All right, Mr. Long.
I have been asked this question before, and I'm going to answer it the same way as I did before. We used to live stream all of the citizen comments. But because those comments go out over the airways and we don't have any opportunity to edit any of that or to bleep out things. So one night, we had an individual in our commission chambers get upset about something that we were doing, a decision that we made, and when we voted on it, he pitched a fit. They had to try to subdue him. He was resisting arrest, and then they realized he had a loaded pistol on himself in our chambers, and acting the way that he did and cussing the way that he did with children in the chambers. It was at that point that we decided that we could no longer air citizen comments. And as long as those individuals continue to come to our meetings and abuse citizen comments, I will never be a part of changing that. I agree, citizens ought to have the opportunity to speak, but unfortunately, we've got some that have abused it and caused that change. This is not the commission's issue, this is theirs. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
Restore the comments to the recorded official minutes and restore live streaming. That's my short answer. Anything else is an infringement on the First Amendment. First Amendment doesn't protect just the polite speech, the speech that we agree with or that sounds good to our ears. It protects everything. In fact, it protects the speech that we especially don't agree with or don't want to hear. Because if we all had agreements and we all didn't have dissenting opinions, well, we'd be just one big homogenous state. But we need other opinions. And I'm sorry, the accounts, as I understood them, the member that was referenced as being a catalyst or an impetus for actually taking the comments away, that was a sequence of events where that was discovered outside later, you know, after the commission meeting. So it's a non sequitur. That's like saying, well, you know, people die going to the store, you know, in their cars. Well, we can't let them drive cars, you know. It's gonna be, but they need to get groceries somehow. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that stance that the commission took on that particular approach to that issue. And let's not forget that the audio-visual equipment that was used for the live streaming, that's taxpayer funded. We paid for that. What are we getting for our dollar? What are we getting out of that? Well, right now it's nothing. But I'll tell you this, you have to consider why things are kept more hard to discover. If you don't know that you agree with other people's opinions, you might feel like you're in the fringe. You might feel like you're the minority. Maybe no one else feels this way. Divide and conquer is a tactic that's been used since Sun Tzu in The Art of War.
Thank you so much. Okay, little change up here. 30 seconds again on this one. So try to just three main points. What do you feel are the three main objectives, three main purposes for serving as a commissioner?
Who are you addressing it to? Is it Gary or is it who's me?
My three objectives for being on the commission are first and foremost our roads. We all travel them. We do need to do a better job of resurfacing, but we can only do so much with the dollars that we have. We're handcuffed with what we get from the state and from the federal government.
What's your second and
Oh, sorry.
What's your second and third?
The second, I guess, would be, that's a good one, Tom. Sorry.
Be able to. Mr. Davis,
One more time on the question.
three main purposes of serving as commissioner.
Serve the people, and serve the people. You got to know where they're at, what they want, and you got to talk to them. Because my opinion of what I should be doing doesn't matter as much as the opinion of the people I'm supposed to be serving.
Mr. Drury.
So my three main, you've heard me speak about them, provide transparency so that everyone knows what I know, communication, make sure you understand and know what's going on, and responsiveness. And that again goes back to serving the people. You call me, I will answer, and I will try to get you a resolution.
All right, this is the next to last question. This one's going to be 1 minute if you need it. For the sake of time, if you are able to keep it brief, we'll appreciate that and move to the next person. As commissioner, how will you handle the potential, as we're getting the potential or the challenge of being in a stance that is going to be, you may be outnumbered or not in lockstep with the other commissioners? How will you handle that?
Say it again.
Starting with Mr. Davis.
Can I hear the question restated one more time, please?
As commissioner, how will you handle the potential challenge of having your stance or your vote being outnumbered or not in lockstep with the other commissioners?
Probably the same way I dealt with it a lot of times in my military career. I was not always the popular kid in the room. I was sometimes the person that people were like, who in the heck invited this guy? That happened a lot. But I don't compromise my values. I get my direction from the good Lord, from the Constitution, and my conscience. And sometimes I like to collaborate. I like to work with people as much as the next guy. But sometimes you got to pick a position because you know it's the right position. It's the righteous position. And you got to stand fast. And if I can't work with people and collaborate willingly, then I'll share everything I know, talking about transparency. This is why they're voting against this. This is why they don't want to support this. And this is what I understand that you do want. So you should know, the public. And you can apply that pressure on the rest of the members to do the right thing.
Mr. Drury, 1 minute.
So you're asking me that if,
How would you handle on issues where you find yourself outnumbered or not in lockstep with the other commissioners?
well, I think, you know, in that position, you've got to have diplomacy. You have got to show the other commissioners why we need it in District 3. You got to prove to them why we need it in District 3, and you've got to work with them. But I will not go against anything that, again, like Mr. Davis said, against my morals, my values, or my compass, which is decided by the Bible. So that's the Bible is the first law. And if it don't fall under the Bible, then it's out automatically, and I will not bend on that.
Thank you. Mr. Long, 1 minute.
Being on the commission is all about your relationship with the other commissioners. And I have found myself outnumbered because there were things that I did not agree on that were, and so I voted no. But you have to have that relationship with the other four, or you'll never get anything done. That's just a fact. And so when you get in that situation, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And so the best thing that I can do, is to never get upset when things don't go my way, because that doesn't help you at all. All right, I'll stop.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so we're wrapping it up. You've got 3 minutes, and basically what makes you the best candidate and why we should be voting for you this coming Tuesday, March 5th, at our districts, starting with Mr. Long.
The question was asked a while ago about contributions. And it's been my stance every time I've run that I'm not collect thousands of dollars in contributions, because I end up owing somebody, and I do not want to be in that position. Developers will just run you over to try to get you in their pocket, and I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to get elected, make promises, and I can't keep them. So I think that the contribution part was a good question, and I encourage everybody to look at our contributions on SOS, on Alabama Secretary of State, and see where our money came from, and see who has a vested interest in us. I don't.
Does he still have some time? Okay, and just why we should vote for you.
The fact that I've been on the commission, there are some folks that say that term limits should be, that we shouldn't serve more than 2 terms. I will tell you that it is very, very difficult to get anything done in your first 4 years. You're learning to be a commissioner. Somebody told me that they had talked to a candidate that said he was a once and done. That's a disservice to Lee County. If you're not willing to serve as many terms as you can get elected, you're not helping the county at all, not at all. So I am of the opinion that the experience that I've got makes me the better candidate. Now, again, it's your vote. It's your vote as to who goes in. But I just feel like that my experience is my biggest, I guess my biggest asset. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Davis, you have 3 minutes. What makes you the best candidate for serving in this role? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it's supposed to go for the closing down, the 3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right. Thanks for keeping me straight. Hey, there you go. Vote for them because they keep us straight. All right. So, Mr. Drury.
So why should I be Lee County Commissioner? You know, I've been here all my life. I know Lee County inside and out. I feel I already have a great network in place to get things done. But you know, with my accounting and finance experience, I've been studying the numbers. You know, the 2024 budget, there's $63 million in revenue and $76 million budget expenditures. That leaves you with a $13 million deficit. By law, they can't pass a negative budget, but what they did, they have $13 million in reserve, so they're going to use that to balance the budget. So my question is, when that $13 million's gone, what do we do next year? What do you look at? What do we do then? And also, you know, District 3, I studied the appropriations. So the county commission, they have about 1.5 million that they give away. About 539,000 of that goes to contracted organizations already. But 910,000, they have discretion as to where it goes. I looked over that list and not one organization in District 3 is receiving an appropriation. Now, you can look at it and there are things they support, great things like mental health and other things that we do benefit from, so don't get me wrong there. There are some that are shared, but the Auburn Airport is getting 25% of that. $230,000. I want to see your hand the last time anybody here fly in and out of the Auburn Airport. Yeah, but that's where it's going. 25% of that's going to Auburn Airport, and I was told that it's so that industries can fly in to put businesses in Auburn, Opelika. How does that help District 3? Our taxpayer money's going there, but how is that benefiting you and me? And then Auburn Daycare Association, $6,000. I was told that so that, you know, it helps mothers that can't pay all their tuition, and I'm all for that. But how about the mothers of District 3 of Smith Station that have trouble paying some of theirs? So if I become commissioner, the first thing I'm gonna do is go around to all the daycare centers and I'm gonna say, I'll help you set up a 501c nonprofit so that you can be the Smith Station Daycare Association and get money to help our mothers, because that's our taxpayers' dollars. So my goal and why you should vote for me as commissioner is because I'm about District 3 and bringing things. I'm tired of people saying Lee County and not here in Smith Station. People used to always say, oh, you live in Smith Station, but now it's, oh, Auburn, Opelika. I feel like they're getting a bulk. We are 20% of the population of Lee County, and by George, 20% needs to come back here to us for our roads and our bridges, if not more. So that's why you should vote for me for Lee County Commissioner.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
So I really didn't like the way the question was phrased. It's like, why are you the best candidate? I'll be honest, I don't know that I am. That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide as the voters, to figure out, am I the person that you trust to get things done on the commission? Am I the person that hears you, cares about you, and wants to do the best to fight for you? I'm no stranger to a combat zone. I'm not afraid of a fight. I appreciate that sometimes, look, I'm a man of God. I like to go take the peaceful route as much as the next person. Proverbs tells us there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. There's a time for peace, but there is a time for war and battle. And I do believe that we are in a battle for a lot of our rights and our freedoms in America, and we have to fight for it. We have to fight for it one county at a time, 1 acre at a time. Ronald Reagan said years ago, we're ever only one generation away from losing all of this. We have to fight for it. We have to hand it on to our children and make sure they cherish it and hand it on to their children. We see a lot of things happening in this country, a lot of disturbing things, but probably the most disturbing thing is the love of the greater number. People are cooling off. People don't care as much. They have busy lives, sure. They're disenchanted and frustrated and cynical with politics and elected officials, and rightly so. Because when's the last time that you felt like your elected officials listened to you and did what you wanted? When was the last time you talked to them? Aside from tonight, or recently. It needs to be transparent. There needs to be communication. But there needs to be empathy. There needs to be compassion for the people that you serve. the people that you are entrusted with, their safety and their liberty. There are several things on the commission that have been implemented besides the finances, things that have been infringement upon your rights. We talked about the First Amendment infringement. They've also voted to limit Second Amendment privileges and rights. After the Supreme Court ruled that constitutional carry was sufficient, our commission voted to still require concealed carry permits. That is an infringement. And that's a pretty simple, straightforward amendment. The things that we see happening on the micro level or the macro level, they're happening at the local micro level. I can't do a lot about what's happening in DC, but I'm ready to fight here locally, tooth and nail, and I don't quit.
All right, thank you. And give them all a round of applause. I hope that gave you a lot of information about the issues that are facing our district, and I hope that from here you'll be able to either go ahead and cast your vote on Tuesday, or you'll be able to reach out to these guys. I'm sure they'll hang around for a couple of minutes for you to be able to capture their name, their phone numbers or emails if you want to continue interacting with them. I know this was just a little taste of what may be deeper answers or other issues that you may want to express to them. Once again, thank y'all so much for your time to come and share your stances on this, and we'll look forward to one of y'all serving in our role.
You mind if I add something? Victor, I just want to thank you for orchestrating and coordinating this, because I know that putting on things like this isn't easy, and you just kind of came out of nowhere, caught me off guard, and like, hey, would you mind doing this? And you know,
Caught him off guard.
you're pretty stealthy, my friend. But thank you. But give Victor a round of applause for putting this together.
I also want to let you know that all three guys, today was the first time I've face-to-face all of them. So it wasn't like I knew somebody. I didn't have a decision, and so now I'm going to listen to it. Once again, Lee County Matters on Facebook. If you want to go back and re-listen to the answers, or you want to share it with a friend that needs to vote, say, hey, go back, listen to the answers, and then you can go from there. Y'all got signs and stuff still? Do y'all have them there? Folks can reach out to y'all for that? Okay. I thought maybe y'all were ready to have them in your back of your trucks and ready to pass them out. But anyway, won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much. And vote on Tuesday.